How's it going, folks? Recording a little bit of a Chihuahua draft here. This is a time box contest, meaning it's going to fill pretty quickly. So you can do some pretty unique things to build your edge in these tournaments that you normally would not want to do in a tournament that's going to stay open longer. And we have pick 111. So you see this area down here that's pick 110, pick 111, and pick 112. This is just where I pick only. Or pick 101. So I either have this slot or one of these three, and I'm not allowed to pick anywhere in the middle. So we're trying a lot of different things from those slots. So pick 111, I'll for sure be taking a wide receiver, probably AJ Brown or Garrett Wilson, maybe Puka. So I won't be looking to get super unique immediately, but we will probably start to look to get unique maybe in round 3. Jahmyr Gibbs goes pick 2 in this draft. I'm the one here talking about getting unique. I would not get that unique. But does give Gibbs on the opposite side of this board, which I think is a alright plan in general. Just wouldn't really want to do it with that player, and I think particularly the first 8 picks for me are a huge tier breakdown to pick 9 in the usual. I really think after Bijan, Amon-Ra, and Brees go off the board, the next group of players is a lot worse. But having a lot of Bijan and Brees fall to me in the 110 spot, which I like quite a bit. I think it's much easier to fight these elite wide receiver teams with Bijan and Brees as opposed to Puka and Garrett Wilson. AJ Brown is sort of in this weird in between spot where you've seen the ceiling, you know that AJ Brown can be an animal, but also at the end of last year, the Eagles kind of just went bleh. So I'll either be taking AJ Brown, Brees, or Amon-Ra, and sending Garrett Wilson and Marvin Harrison to the turn. This could be an Amon-Ra, an AJ Brown and Drake London team. That's a pairing I haven't gotten too much. Very happy to get Brees at 11 too, so nothing too terrible can happen here. Okay, we'll just take AJ Brown. See if the turn double taps wide receiver. He does. We're going to skip down, take Drake London, and be on our way. I do prefer Drake London to Devontae Adams, if only for the reason that I don't want to end up with 8,000 Devontae Adams shares. I'm already getting a ton. I have Devontae Adams ranked higher, and I will occasionally pull Devontae Adams ahead of Drake London to get unique combos. I would rather do it more at the 112 as opposed to the 111 or 110. Just because it's less, other people will be doing that less often. So don't mind the start. Could end up with Jalen Hurts in round 3. Pretty fine with that. Most of the ideas I would have for unique combos in round 3, 4 probably won't go for. Could do is Devonta Smith in round 3 if he falls to us and see if we can get Hurts to get by the guy on the turn. I have maybe one Hurts, AJ Brown, and Devonta team. I don't really like doing it too much, but maybe we'll try it in this one. See if we get sniped. It's definitely no guarantee we even get Devonta Smith, so See if we have anything interesting going on the board. We have a Brees Barkley start. That's kind of interesting. I'm not a big Barkley fan. I think he's pretty easy to recreate his points from later running backs. So not as much into Barkley and Derrick Henry. We have a lot of running backs off the board early here. I'm finding that zero RB built on the right side of the board is quite a bit easier than the left. I think on the left side, I'm going to start taking a running back in round 7 more often because it's just like the dregs are there for you in round 8 and 9, which is like fine, but I wouldn't mind getting one of those guys if I already have a better one as like my 2. But it's like, seems like it's getting too thin now on the way back for me. Devonta Smith goes like real early to the CeeDee Lamb guy. It does give us a little bit more opportunity if we want to try to see if we can scoot Hurts past the guy on the turn. Because with no Devonta Smith there, there's not very much incentive for him to take Hurts. Looking to Laporta, DK Metcalf, Hurts, then I get a little bit less happy after that. I'm interested to see what this guy who started 2 running backs does. I'm probably going to press my luck if he takes someone that's not Laporta. All right, we're going to press our luck here. I want to try this. So I want to try to get Laporta and Hurts. And obviously, this guy I could just take Hurts, and that sucks, but whatever. It's been like really hard to get Laporta to fall lately, so I wanted to try to do this. And then just take 2 wide receivers the next 2 picks. So I'm pretty happy with that run out. You could get this pretty easy when you were in the big board, but like it's gotten really, really hard to get Hurts, AJ Brown, another wide receiver, and Laporta. So I wanted to take the chance here in this time box contest to do that. I think it won't be that common. Obviously, like there'll be more than one of it, but I just don't think it'll be super common. Just because Laporta is not falling to the end around 3 nearly as much as he was in the big board. So wide receivers 59 and 62. Probably have some interest in Calvin Ridley because I really like pairing Hurts with Levis, since Levis is like a cheap QB that I actually like. So sometimes in this range, I'm looking more for like Terry McLaurin and Jaden Reed so that I can set up quarterbacks I like later on. But this time, like, I'm not really looking for quarterbacks in the range that those guys usually go. So, like, I have a ton of McLaurin because I've been like, I have even more Jaden Reed, but I've been trying to set up Jaden Reed, like, so I've been like kind of tie breaking towards McLaurin a lot. And yeah, so I've just ended up with a lot of McLaurin. So keeping in mind that we're like not trying to draft, Jaden Reed or Jordan Love in this draft. Obviously, if like one of those guys is just the best pick, then I don't really care. I'll just take them. But I might take Calvin Ridley over one of them. I think Ridley is like in the same tier as those guys. A lot of people are like super down on Ridley, so rather kind of take Ridley here and see if we can set up for Levis later on. Tight end will probably push pretty far, being that we have Laporta. Maybe down to like the Jawan Johnson area or Freiermuth, someone like that. Hunter Henry. So we're going to be able to push our quarterback 2 and tight end 2 pretty far, being that we got Hurts and Laporta. We'll probably be taking 2 wide receivers here. Can't really imagine a world where I'm taking something else. Xavier Worthy's a guy that I like don't really get much right now, so he's one I can maybe keep an eye on. I haven't been getting nearly as much Christian Kirk lately. Worthy goes before a pick. I'm pretty interested in Calvin Ridley with one of my 2 picks, but I could make that the second of the 2 and still be pretty sure that I'm going to get him. If Keenan Allen's there when he gets to our pick, that could be interesting. Like, I normally wouldn't mind setting up like a Keenan Allen and a Dunze double for Caleb, but I don't know if I want to spend the draft capital required to get Caleb on this Jalen Hurts team. I think that I do not want to do that, so Keenan Allen goes before I pick anyway. I'd like to get Christian Kirk here, but okay, let's see Kirk. Gonna hope that we get Calvin Ridley. If we don't, it's okay. I'll probably take either McLaurin or Odunze if we don't get Ridley. I don't mind Rashee Rice, but he's falling a lot in these drafts, so not really in a rush to pick him. Guy takes Anthony Richardson. So probably take McLaurin or Ridley. Gonna lean towards Ridley, like I said, because I kind of like the way that it sets us up for Levis with Hurts, and also I have infinite Terry McLaurin right now because of how often I'm trying to set up Jaden Daniels. Like, not all my Daniels teams have Terry McLaurin, obviously, but there's a lot of times where I get to this range of wide receiver and I'm like, I have no quarterback and no plan for what to do at quarterback. So let me take McLaurin so that I can try and get Jaden Daniels in a good spot. I think right now I have like 30-something% Jaden Daniels. ETR ranked all the Jaguars guys like really freaking high, so they've been like a pain in the ass to get. Could go with Pollard as one of our running backs to kind of set up another stacking piece if we do get Levis, or we could go for Spears if he falls to us at a decent pick. I have quite a bit of Pollard with Levis already, so I'd like to start taking advantage of getting some Spears. But I feel like whenever you kind of like go out of your way to try to target somebody, it just like doesn't work out and you don't get them. taking a look at the board popped out here. So we have Net Plus, who started 5 wide receivers, and Joe Mixon. I think we're the only 0 RB team. Nope. Beardback is also on a 0 RB build. So, like, even though 0 RB is pretty common right now, it's still not that common. Might be looking at taking 2 running backs here. There is wide receiver value I like in the middle rounds, so if DeAndre Hopkins is there, we might take him to kind of try to set up a double for Levis. Done that quite a bit, so I don't feel particularly like I need to do that. Kirk Cousins sometimes falls like crazy amounts in drafts, so like we could always end up grabbing him at value to go with Drake London and not taking Levis at all. So might shy away from Hopkins because of that. Hopkins is fine anyway. But Hopkins often falls all the way down here. Brian Thomas Jr. If he was to make it to us 10 picks past ADP, that could get interesting to try to get a unique stack with getting him that late and Kirk that late. And then maybe picking up T-Law. I'm not sure that would be the best thing for us to do. We could also stack without the quarterback, right? Just go Brian Thomas and just don't take T-Law. I'm fine with Zamir White, Swift, Najee. Okay. Brian Thomas goes. Kind of want to get Zamir White or Swift, but we'll see if we're lucky enough to do so. Took Harris there just because I've been getting so much Zamir White. It's been just an absurd amount. All right, I'm going to take Swift this time. Like I said, I've been getting a lot of Pollard in these Levis builds with Calvin Ridley and Hopkins, so I think I want to go away from Pollard a little bit here. Do something a little different. Maybe we'll get Spears later on. That'd be cool. Probably end up in a 2-7-7-2 build. Occasionally, you'll get these 0 running back rooms where like the front end is so strong where I just go 2-6-8-2, which is cool too. Those builds have been a little bit harder to come by lately. They were real easy to come by for a while, but it's been tougher to get them. There was a point where you were building like 0 RB teams and getting like RB4 Brian Robinson, RB3 Singletary, which is something that might happen in this draft. Tight end after Njoku, Bowers, and Ferguson is dead to me for a while. Brock Bowers has fallen crazily in some of my drafts. I got him in a draft at like well after pick 100 when I had Kelsey, and I was like, "Hell's yeah." I'm still really into Brock Bowers. I get that the ceiling is like harder to reach for him given this landing spot and situation, but like it's not like it's gone. Like he could still be like the tight end. It's definitely the best tight end prospect of all time. It's not even really remotely close. If Bowers falls all the way to my pick, I will be very interested. I do have Laporta, so that would probably make me a little less interested, but still be tempting to take him and just be like, we're good here at tight end. We're just going to dominate this position. As far as other stacking pieces for Hurts, it's pretty thin. Like I don't like Dallas Goedert much. I have taken him with Hurts some, but it's usually when I'm not, I don't have like Laporta. It's usually when I have a tight end, I'm a little bit less sure about. Could finally try to set up something with Denver and actually take Bo Nix. That would be pretty interesting. See if Cortland Sutton makes it to us. I guess Javonte would be another way to sort of start that off. Because you could probably try to finish your draft with something like Nix and Dulcich together. Guess you don't really need Dulcich in particular, right? There's a couple running backs I have my eye on. Just like literally no one going to take Brock Bowers. And then are we going to continue to not take Brock Bowers? Hmm. Person takes Cortland Sutton. It's very annoying. Am I just taking Brock Bowers here? I'd rather wait. I really want to get one of Javonte or Singletary. Sick Javonte. If I had like any other tight end, I would be taking Brock Bowers there. And if he doesn't take Brock Bowers, I still might. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to take Singletary. So this is a one of those RB rooms, like I said, where we end up 0 RB, but we might only go 6 because these 6 are pretty strong, or these 4 are pretty strong to start. Boy, was that hard to not take Brock Bowers there. I think it would have right not to, but felt bad. Especially in a time box tournament where like it's not like he's getting super much cheaper than this. So we could end up with 8 wide receivers here, which would be pretty nice, given that we're not taking our 5th wide receiver for a bit longer than usual. So obviously, I'd have interest in Tajay Spears if he falls all the way back to us, which does happen some. I will almost for sure be taking Xavier Legette. He is one of my favorite picks in these middle rounds. I just think the upside for Leggett is massive. I totally understand like that the downside is also massive, but I'm okay rolling the dice there. Blake Corum's pretty interesting to me. I like Jerome Ford. Like I said, I have my eye on Leggett for sure at wide receiver. Could try to set up something with like Troy Franklin and Javonte, and maybe go with Bo Nix as our quarterback instead of Levis. But I prefer Levis to Nix quite a bit. So I don't think I'll go that route. That's something to consider. Zeke is a player I'm not interested in with these particular 4 running backs already on my team that I have. Like, I do think that there's teams where I am interested in Zeke, but it's usually like some sort of team where I have like a Trey Benson or like a Jonathan Brooks or something on my team where I'm like, might need a little bit of help until these guys get going. Once I have like 4 guys I think are starting running backs like this team, I'm just not that interested in Zeke. I'd rather go for like a Corum or, Marshawn Lloyd or somebody like that. Romeo Dubs be tumbling. Spears does go before our pick. At running back, I kind of have my eye on one of Corum, Charbonnet, or Ford. I like all those players. Corum goes. I have my eye on Charbonnet or Ford. Zeke goes. I don't mind Jalen Wright either. Could take the big ADP fall on Dub, so he goes. Charbonnet or Ford? I don't know. I might just take Leggett here and then hope he doesn't double tap running back. I'm going to do that. I don't want to like lose Leggett with how much I like him. If he goes Charbonnet and Ford, then yeah, that kind of sucks. But I think then we'll just end up taking like Josh Palmer or something. That's fine. We could even just drop down and take Freiermuth and be done at tight end. Wouldn't hate that either. Probably rather get one of these running backs in with our 0 RB build, but so we will get a chance at Charbonnet or Ford. Do we want to push running back? When's do we pick again? 155. There are running backs I definitely like down there at 155 and 168. So the question is, do I want to lock up tight end or take a wide receiver? Nice. Alrighty, we're done at tight end. That was close. I'm not really sure what was the better pick there. I have some plans for like at least one running back I want on the way back, so that's why I did not take a running back. 155 and 158. I think we can like push Levis and see if we lose that battle. He's 177. 179. Kind of scout out what the Hopkins drafter has got going on. Where are you, Hopkins drafter? Okay. The Hopkins drafter has every quarterback that's ever existed. So I think I'm going to try and push Levis. If we miss on Levis, we'll probably end up still with a shot at Drake May. So this is a pretty QB thirsty room in general, so maybe that's not a fantastic plan, but there's some running backs I really, really like that I think will be available for our next 2 picks. So that's why I went and did not end up taking a running back the last round. Closed out tight end. Tight end can get a little dicey at the end where you're like really just hoping for only Juwan Johnson. And if you miss him, I mean, I don't hate like Dulcich and people like that, but I feel like the jump from those guys to Freiermuth is pretty big. I have interest in Jalen Polk with our pick or Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin gives us some leeway if we whiff on. If we were to whiff on Levis, we would have a stack up. I guess we have Bryce Young with Leggett, so we still already have like kind of a backup plan built in, so maybe we don't need the Troy Franklin backup plan. Polk goes. Mooney goes. All right. How ballsy do I want to get here? I'm going to go ahead and take the running back I really want to take, which is Kamani Vidal. And yeah, just this guy wants Troy Franklin. He can have him. I like Roman Wilson pretty much just as much. I wouldn't mind taking Ray Davis. Just take Roman Wilson. We have another backup plan now if we want. If we miss Levis, we could take Justin Fields and like hope that Hurts can just carry this team until Justin Fields at some point maybe beats out Russell Wilson. And then we have a double stack for Justin Fields with Roman Wilson and Pat Freiermuth. Kind of like that. We actually have Najee too. So we have like all the Pittsburghs going. So I'm either going to take Levis or Justin Fields as one of my next 2 picks. I prefer playing it this way to Bryce Young. Like, Bryce Young is so bleh. I'd rather swing for the fences. Maybe somehow Fields beats Russell Wilson out in camp. It sounds like the Steelers are like pretty hell-bent on giving Russell Wilson the start, but plans can change. We're definitely not taking any more tight ends. We don't need them at all. Wow, Drake May went pretty early in this draft compared to usual. I think, given how often I take Will Levis, I might just go with the Fields plan in this draft, like just period. Like, this is a spot where I have triple stack options set up for him, which is not something that's normally going to happen. I also have Jalen Hurts, who's probably, one of the top 2 to 3 quarterbacks to try to carry a guy like Fields that's not playing. So that's pretty interesting to me. A lot of interest in Malachi Corley. Looks like Javon Baker's off the board already. That's unfortunate. Oh! What just happened to me? This guy just took Fields with no stack options. I have been bamboozled. Who knew that Levis would be the backup plan? All of the backup plans are pretty much gone out the window. So actually, we still have Levis, and we still have. Whew, I just saw purple. We still have Bryce Young, so it's not like all of them have been out the window, but yeah. I was planning to take Corley with this pick, but yeah. He's got Anthony Richardson and Jaden Daniels. I could still do it. It'd be ballsy, but fuck. All right, we're gonna take Malachi Corley. And we're gonna take Bryce Young. Good solo QB at. Really feel like there's like no position where I'm like super excited to add something. So Fukit, I still cannot believe that we like Justin Fields went like 80 picks above ADP, unstacked. The one time I was actually going to take him. That was wild. This was wild stuff. Let's see. Johnny Carson reference, which people will not know. So gotta remember I have Javante, so my usual Audric Estime is out. I am into Will Shipley for this particular team. Then we don't necessarily need to take another wide receiver, but could. So let's light up one or two of those that we like. I like Malik a bit, but I prefer McMillan. Tez is fine. Obviously, these people are fine, but running back, what else would we like to do? That's so savage. Finally going to take my first Justin Field post draft. Got triple stack set up. Going to take him way above ADP. Wrecked. Just wrecked. Kind of indifferent to taking a running back or like running back 7 or wide receiver 6 here. I think either is pretty reasonable. Hey, it did result in my first Bryce Young share. Not that I want one, but hey, got one. I'm not taking like any Clyde. Guess that's just because I haven't been able to build any Chiefs. I want to. It just seems to never work out to build Chiefs. Still in shock at that Justin Fields pick. It would make more sense if I was on a live stream and talking about what I wanted to do. Audric Estime is such a ridiculously good pick, in my opinion. I think that if there's a way he can beat Javante out, just like flat out beat him out. I'm down for Shipley, Tez Walker, A.T. Perry, pretty much. Any of these people I have lit up are fine. Elijah Mitchell's like pretty good down here too. I think I'll just take Shipley. Get the correlated guy. We're pretty like indifferent between wide receiver or running back. So like I probably won't pull these that sort of down to these players. I feel like Tez Walker the best out of this specific group, so it would be nice to get that fall on Elijah Mitchell. But I think that this team probably has enough at running back, so yeah, let's take Tez. So Hertz and Bryce Young. Obviously, you cannot give yourself too low of a grade when you have one of the best quarterbacks with Hertz. Bryce Young, pretty unexciting and crappy. Do have a little bit of stacking for each one. We've got Leggett to go with Bryce Young. We've got AJ Brown and Shipley to go with Hertz. Our running back group is a zero RB room, but a pretty strong one. We have four guys that project to be the starting running backs on our team. Kamani Vidal, who has a chip in the game to be the Chargers starting running back, though like I wouldn't say it's super likely. And Shipley, I think, is pretty clearly going to end up being the RB2 in Philly. We've seen enough of Kenny Gainwell. They keep trying to bring other people in. They don't ever seem to really want to use Kenny Gainwell, but, they will if they're forced to. So I think Shipley ends up the RB2 in Philly. Uh, Wide receiver room is pretty sweet. So top four are very strong. The bottom four are rookies, but they all have pretty reasonable upsides. And I mean, tight end room with Laporta and Freiermuth is obviously slam dunk. So altogether, I think this team turned out pretty good. So thanks for watching and good luck in your drafts, folks.